오늘은 힐튼 안소니 데니스 주한 남아프리카 공화국 대사 모시고 함께 이야기 나눠보는 시간 갖겠습니다. 대사님 안녕하세요. Nice to meet you, Ambassador. Yeah. And it's been 3 years since you came to Korea, and what has been your main focus to the relationship between two countries?
Well, first, let me say thank you for inviting me onto your program and allowing me to share the South African perspective on our bilateral relationship. Now, it's correct, as you've said, that I have been here for 3 years. But before I came, there has been a longer relationship between South Africa and Korea. You might know that South Africa fought in the Korean War, and that goes back to about 60 years. So the sentiment in our relationship goes back 60 years. But our diplomatic relationship begins 20 years ago in 1992. So last year we celebrated 20 years in our bilateral relationship. So we've had about 5 ambassadors before me. And therefore all that we've done, all the priorities that we've set is based off that foundation. Now, I came here, as you've correctly said, 3 years ago, and that was at the back of the global financial crisis, and which impacted both our countries quite severely. And therefore the focus was to grow our trade relations. I'm very happy to note that since 2010, our trade relations have grown exponentially at about 30% growth every year until 2012, where our trade volumes reached a record level. And so that was a good celebratory point for our 20 years of bilateral relations. Unfortunately, the economy has global economy has somewhat subsided in the last year. And again, our trade relations have somehow subsided. But that has been my priority, growing the trade relationship. But of course, it's not focused entirely on that. Our political relations have also grown in the last 3 years, where previously the principal instrument in our political dialogue is called the Policy Consultative Forum, and this was headed at the DG level. And 2 years ago it was upgraded to the Deputy Minister level. So our political relations have also been deepened in the last 3 years. So these have been essentially my priorities: grow trade and deepen the political relations.
It's been 6 years since the Korea War ceasefire, and at the time many South African soldiers took part in the war, and Koreans still remember and think about that. And what does the participation in the Korean War mean to South Africa?
Well, as I said in my opening, South Africans first came to Korea during the Korean War, which was 60 years ago. I have had the good fortune of meeting many of these veterans who are very old now, but many of them are still alive, who came here and fought. There were about 50 South Africans who were killed here. And without exception, these veterans say how astonished they are when they compare the ravaged and desolate Korea that they left in 1953 to the modern, industrial, developed country that it is today. And so their strong feeling is that all their sacrifices were not in vain. Also that Korea has been very caring about the veterans, and they are invited every year to visit Korea, and they appreciate that very much. Some of their grandchildren are offered scholarships and are studying here. And so I believe that Koreans are showing a great morality in not forgetting those who helped them in their hour of need. So there's a strong sentiment in South Africa about Korea. And I believe Koreans too have a strong feeling about South Africa. And that really is the foundation for our bilateral relations.
Okay, and thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. 감사합니다.
감사합니다. 지금까지 힐튼 안소니 데니스 주한 남아프리카 공화국 대사 모시고 얘기 나눠봤습니다. 멀리 떨어져 있지만 비슷한 것도 많고 이 마음만은 가까운 두 나라 한국과 남아프리카 공화국의 이 우호 협력 관계가 앞으로 더 발전해 나가길 기대해 봅니다. 시청해 주신 여러분 감사합니다.